So I just saw that Adrian Fontes entered the room. Is that right? Adrian, there you
Yes,
are
I'm here.
in the car. All right. So I'm going to give Adrian the first 5 minutes. Adrian Fontes is a former Marine, a dad, an attorney, and an elections administrator. He has spent his whole career fighting for justice and democracy. Adrian is now a candidate for the Arizona Secretary of State's office, so we can continue to have free and fair elections in Arizona. Please welcome Adrian Fontes. You have 5 minutes.
Thank you so much. And thanks everybody for being on the call and actually caring about what happens with our democracy. I want to make sure that everybody understands how serious this is. We are at the precipice of losing everything that we have. And I'm not even kidding. We've got members of the Trump administration who, once you start seeing those January 6th hearings, you're going to see the plan they had to overturn our government. And we are running against Republicans who don't believe in our elections. They don't believe in our democracy, and they are looking to install a fascist autocrat as the leader of this nation. None of us ever thought we would be here. None of us ever thought this is where we were going to be as a nation. And God forbid they end up winning. This is serious. It's real. These are folks who performed an armed insurrection against the Constitution. It's very serious. Now, I'm just a little about me. I'm an Arizona native. I was born and raised in Nogales. For those who don't know me, I went to Arizona State for a while, went and enlisted in the Marine Corps, where I was a marksmanship instructor, a classified materials controller. Came back to ASU to finish my bachelor's degree with honors. Then I went to law school. After that, I prosecuted a bit in Denver and here in Arizona. And then I ended up in private practice for about 12 years. And then I ran for office because people couldn't vote. Think about that. Gave up a whole bunch. And look, this old Marine has seen a lot of things. And now it's time for me to put on the next uniform. It's time for you to send me as your Democratic candidate into the general election in November. As mentioned, I am an election administrator. I hold the highest certification, which is CERA certification out of Auburn University and the Election Center. And all of the rest of it put together literally makes me the single most qualified candidate ever on either side of the aisle to run for Secretary of State. Let me say that again. No one has ever run for this office with more qualifications for this office. And, you know, you can say legislative experience is important, and it is, but it's not the most qualifications you can get, which is what I have. And at the end of the day, really, why are we nominating candidates? We're nominating candidates so that we can make sure to put the best foot forward into the fall. We want to make sure that we've got candidates who not only have actually run against Republicans, but who have beaten Republicans, where Democrats have a disadvantage, which is across the state. Every time I've run, I've beaten the Republican voter registration advantage because of my background, because of my history, because of my skill set, my experience, and most importantly, because I know how to fight. And this fighter is not going to go quietly. Now, a lot of you are out there on the fence a little bit trying to figure out, well, we've got a couple of great candidates. Well, that may be true in other races, but at the end of the day, which candidate do you want fighting for Mark Kelly to get reelected in November? Which candidate do you want fighting for our ultimate gubernatorial candidate to get elected statewide? And who's going to give your legislative district the boost that it needs down ballot to make sure that whoever's running down there is going to get it up the ballot? That's what we got to do, is make sure that we're going voting bottom up. I was talking to county party chairs in Cochise County today, in Coconino County today. I talked to the Greenlee County party chair because I care about what happens in all of Arizona. I'm the team player who's going to make sure that we have the best shot in November. We cannot govern if we do not win. Let me repeat that, Democrats. We cannot govern if we do not win. My name is Adrian Fontes, and I am our best shot to maintain this Secretary of State's office out of the hands of the Trump sycophants, and to make sure that Democrats across the Grand Canyon state have the best chance in November. I would appreciate your support. Go to electfontes.com. And more than just that, I very much hope that I have earned your vote over the time that I have served, not just in the Marine Corps, not just in other public service, but as the county recorder here in Maricopa County for those 4 years that I did. Again, Adrian Fontes, thank you so much, everybody. Really appreciate your time. let's go win this one.
All right. Adrian, do you have time for questions or do you have to get going? I know you're.
It's your meeting. You give me as much time as you want. Remember, I'm a lawyer and a politician. I'll talk all night.
Okay. Monroe,
Adrian is a star as far as I'm concerned. I told him when am I muted?
no.
Helen, you're the one that discovered me.
I discovered you. I did.
Yes, you
I
did, Helen.
discovered him, and I'm not disappointed in anything you do. I think you are a superstar. You're
Thank you, Helen.
amazing. You're amazing, and we need you so badly.
I appreciate that.
Okay, and I'll come and see you whenever I can get there.
Looks like Cindy
Great.
has a question.
I actually have a question that I would like for you to answer for everyone. I was able to see you speak about the Second Amendment, and it happened to be at Blue Tuesday lunch or something like that. I don't even know how I found it, but
Yep.
But I wanted to know, what is that somewhere like on YouTube or somewhere where we can find that, because it was excellent, because it was actually about the entire Second Amendment, including the well-regulated part and not just the shall not be infringed words. So, but it was very good. And I also was able to see your manual for teaching it M4?
The M16A2 service rifle. So the video you're talking about was filmed by Midas Touch. You can find it on my Twitter, on my Facebook page for the campaign, Adrian Fontes for Arizona Secretary of State. There's a YouTube video, and you're right. We're, I think, well over 700,000 views on that video now, because I basically read the whole Constitution as it applies to the militia, not just the bits and pieces that folks cherry pick. So, yeah, I'd love to be able to, if somebody can throw that in a chat, that'd be phenomenal. There it is right there. I guess somebody on the campaign, because that wasn't me that did it, but 700,000.
Hey, I got it first. I'm just let that be known. I got it first. So
fantastic.
My credit.
First, but yeah, no, I really appreciate it, folks. Thank you so much. Any other quick questions, Paula? Last ones?
I don't see.
I just want to say something about the militia part that nobody seems to. Am I on?
Yeah, we hear you.
You're on, Helen.
Yeah. The Second Amendment, they seem to disregard the fact that it says well-regulated militia. That doesn't mean everybody belongs to the militia. It's an army. That's what I don't understand, is why they ignore that word militia. And
well, it's an argument of convenience, Helen. You know, our good friends, the hypocrites on the right, they'll want everything regulated so long as it's on a woman's body. And they don't really care about the environment or all of the rest of it. So I'm going to make sure to fight like hell for all of us and all independents and all Republicans. And remember, folks, we can't govern if we don't win. So when you're making your choices during the primary of who you're going to support, I would encourage Democrats across Arizona, get off the fence, get on board the Fontes wagon, and let's go win this thing. We've got to take care of this state, and we've got to start now. I'm going to go ahead and run. I thank you so much, y'all, for all the support that I've had. And special shout out to Helen Hughes for having discovered me low these many years ago. Jennifer Pawlik on here. She's a stalwart champion. Y'all are lucky to have her. And I'm just scrolling through here. So many good friends. Thank you, everybody. I'm going to take off. Really appreciate it. Have a wonderful evening. Bye-bye.
Be safe. Be safe.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
You know, I forgot to mention that since people are muted, if you have questions for the candidates, maybe put them in the chat and then I'll get to them when their candidates are done speaking. Next, we have Dr. Laura Metcalfe. She's a mom and educator with industry experience, and she's running to be the District 5 representative for the EVIT school board. What does that stand for? East Valley Institute of Technology.
Yes.
Please join me in welcoming Dr. Laura Metcalfe.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for your time tonight. I really appreciate it. I have 5 minutes. I am not a politician. What? I'm sorry.
You get 10 minutes.
Oh, I get 10 minutes. Ooh, awesome.
If you want to be.
I'm not a politician and I'm not a lawyer, but I am a lifelong educator here in Arizona. I was born in Tucson, and I was actually a student in high school who didn't do well. And I was told that when I was in high school. And I thought, all right, then I guess I'll just go do hair. And you know what, live my life. Well, I was told that if I want to make anything out of myself, I needed to go to college. That was my parents telling me this. I don't hold that belief because everyone's different. But I did go to college, and I eventually got on that roller coaster of being able to learn and grow and be able to be fulfilling my goals. I was a high school business teacher. I was a career and technical education director, special education director, federal grants manager, grant writer, public information officer, district level administrator, and I've even cleaned bathrooms. So, and the scary thing is I was a Republican for 32 years. So what happened there was I tried to get involved in the Republican Party, and I had a close encounter with Kelly Ward. And I called her and I said, I want very much to be part of the Republican Party. I want to be involved. I'm a lifelong educator. That stopped the conversation right there. And she said, why are you calling me on state time? You're breaking the law, and we have nothing to do with people like you. And I went, you're not getting my vote. And it was there that I started to feel that I was not going to be a productive member of the Republican Party. My son graduated from ASU with a bachelor's degree in political science. And I slowly started to become aware of how one-sided, myopic, shallow, degrading that the Republican Party truly is. And as embarrassing as it is, I was one of them, and I apologize. I am now a full-fledged Democrat. I am an educator, and I am running for the EVIT District 5 seat for the governing board. I was a teacher at East Valley Institute of Technology. I taught business there. And I am looking to open those opportunities for kids and adults to be able to get the training and the education they need and deserve to go out into the trades and fulfill those needs. We have a shortage of construction workers, welders, automobile technicians, cosmetologists, medical personnel, and you name it, we've got it. There's a shortage. And being able to open those opportunities up for students in those areas to be able to move forward in their goals is so fulfilling. And I know that from a personal standpoint. And I have 30 years of educational experience here in Arizona. And I've worked in charter schools, private schools, public schools. And I also am a teacher. I am also a graduate level teacher at Grand Canyon University, helping to build the next generation of teachers. Oh, I see there's a question in there. Would you like for me to answer that, or do you want to bring that up after I'm done?
Yeah, you just go ahead and finish, and then
Okay.
the questions.
Okay, so EVIT covers north. It's a huge area. It's north central Mesa, down into Chandler, well over into Apache Junction, the Salt River Pima Maricopa Indian community, Scottsdale, Tempe, and other areas. I can't even tell you how many miles it is. It's huge. So I have been collecting signatures since March and have figured out how to put together a website and a Facebook page. That's not something I've ever done before, but we can always learn. And I'm having fun with that. And this is what I'm doing. This is my passion. Kids, adults, learning, growth, goals, being able to move people to another level of accomplishment that maybe they've not endured or had the opportunity to do before, because I was told I would never amount to anything. And I have turned that around and put that into an educational, a career in education. And I love to collect degrees. It's like, they're like sweaters to me. I go and I buy one and I put it on the wall. I buy one and I put it on the wall. I love the work. I love learning, and I love being able to support kids and adults in all facets of education, no matter what it is, whether it's EVIT, whether it's general education, whether it's college, whatever. I have found my calling, and this is why I'm running for EVIT District 5 School Board. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. So we did have this question, where does it cover? You kind of answered that, but do you know if everyone in Chandler, Gilbert, and Sun Lakes can vote for that district?
You know what? I can pull a let me pull the link for the Chandler or for the District 5 map. And it's huge. So it's very possible that there are some areas in there that might be able to cover that. Let me pull this up and I'll plop it into the chat. So that way we can take a look at to see if you are part of that. I wouldn't doubt it because it's just so huge. Let me put this into the chat so that way you can click on it and take a look. There we go. So it does go into Chandler. It does go into South Chandler. So there are areas of Mesa. It's huge, huge, huge. You're welcome. So that's largely what it is. And you may be able to vote in that, but take a look, because sometimes if I have a cross streets, I can kind of tell you where it might land. But outside of that, the map should be there. When you take a look at it, make sure you scroll in so that it can expand the streets and you can kind of see where you're living at.
Thank you. And are
You're
you
welcome.
running unopposed?
No, I have two Republican candidates who are running. One, her name is Sean Luke. She was appointed November 2021 to complete another candidate's or another board member's term. And there's another gentleman by the name of Ian Murray, who is also running. He applied for the appointment, but was not selected. And so now he is looking to run for both. So I have three. There's me and two other candidates. I'm the only Democrat at this point. Of course, it's a nonpartisan race, but I am the only Democrat right now.
Good to know. So it won't be marked on our ballot. We just need to know. Dr. Laura Metcalfe. Okay.
And I have I can put my website in there. Laura for EVIT.com.
Yeah.
All right.
Already put it on there for you. Yep.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you. So this is my first time running. I feel like I don't know what I'm doing, but I guess according to everyone else, I'm doing it okay. So I guess getting permission to get on the ballot's half the battle.
Yes. Thank you for running.
You are welcome. Thank you for having me speak tonight. I appreciate it.
All right. Excellent. Good night.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. All right. Next, we have our own LD13 representative, Jennifer Pawlik. She's a passionate educator and legislator. And as a tireless advocate for our kids in our communities, Representative Pawlik is here to talk to us first about what's happening down at the Capitol, and second about what the latest developments are in her campaign. Welcome, Representative Pawlik. You have 10 minutes.
Thank you, Paula. It's nice to see so many of you here tonight. As Paula said, I am your state representative, Jennifer Pawlik. And to start off, today is day 149 at the Capitol. And you might remember our goal is 100 days. So we're way beyond that. They start penalizing us as far as our per diem is concerned at day 120. So at this point, our $10 a day is not covering gas. Isn't that great? We are going down to the Capitol really just 1 to 2 times a week. And that's been the case for about 6 weeks. Last week we worked 3 days. This week we're working 3 days, but that's about where we're at. Every time we go in, we're seeing probably between 5 and 10 bills, which is so little. But there are very few bills left to vote on because really, truly, we should be done by now. I did want to share some good news. Today, I received an award from the All Arizona School Retirees Association. They were very grateful for all the work that I've done on education bills this session. And really, so much of my work has been stopping things or speaking out against things that are bad for public schools. I did want to address the issue of gun violence bills here in Arizona. Every year, we have some members who are introducing really good bills. And like you've heard me say with education bills, these bills likewise are not given a hearing. You may or may not be aware, but Assistant Leader Longden is a gun violence survivor. She had 7 bills she introduced this year, and they were good bills. Bills on background checks, bills on with red flag laws, a lot of the things that Gary talked about at the beginning of the hour. They have not been given a hearing. And I know that she's having conversations with the Republican leadership to see if we can find something in common. Last week in the Senate, one of the background bills, the Senate Democrats did legislative maneuvers to try to get a bill up on the board, and it did fail. So just know that we are fighting for you. We are introducing bills that you would be supportive of. But like Adrian said, we can't govern if we don't win, and we need to have more people at the table. A couple of other bills that have passed since last we met, a really, really awful bill in education that I really think it might be the impetus for some people choosing to leave, is a bill that requires teachers to post all of the materials they use in a day online, so anybody can search those materials. It's a lot of extra work, and teachers won't be paid extra to do it. And a lot of times when you are in the midst of teaching, you might get a student question and you have to turn on a dime to address what the student needs. And that's what good teaching is. You won't necessarily always have time to post it online. So that bill has passed both the House and the Senate, and it is moving up to the governor. On Monday, we also had a transportation bill that I thought was terrible pass. That one was 1630, and what it did was it's allowing school districts to use 11 to 15 passenger vans for regular transportation of students. Now, the reason they offered this bill is because we have a shortage of people who have the CDL driver's license to drive the school bus. So instead of addressing the issue that we're not paying those people enough money, so they're taking jobs in other industries, we are wanting to use these vans. The problem with the vans is they're more likely to roll or combust. So there are federal regulations that don't allow these vans to be used. And now in Arizona, I guess they will be. That one I anticipate the governor will sign quickly because it's been all over the internet on more conservative channels as, oh, isn't this a great idea? I did also want to let you know that the Rules Committee on Monday did late introduction of bills. So they allowed that motion to happen. And what we're expecting is oftentimes we'll see that motion, and then within a couple of days, we'll see budget bills. Now, some of the bills that they wanted to do late introduction on are the ESAs. And remember, those are the private school vouchers. We don't know what version it is. We have not seen the language yet, but they are now allowed to introduce an ESA bill. They're also allowed to introduce school finance bills. And that's very worrisome because if you'll remember earlier in the session, we had 2 bills. One was 2808, and that one had to do with outside entities taking over our schools that have DNF ratings. Instead of looking here to Arizona to see what can we do with the leaders in our state, so allowing out-of-state charters to come in. The other bill that we worry that some form of it may rear its ugly head again was I believe it was 1269, and that was a school finance reform bill. Now, I'll tell you, we do need to reform our school finances. However, it needs to be a thoughtful process where we actually have people who are experts in school finance working on the issue. We need to have people from both parties. We need to have rural schools, urban schools, suburban schools. Everybody needs to be taking part in this conversation. And the way that bill was brought forth was in the form of a striker, and it was 101 pages with very little notice. So we're expecting something like that to come out of late introduction of bills. Well, we're also expecting a budget. There was a document that was leaked last night, and it's not as skinny of a budget as the previous version, which failed in April. but it doesn't have funding for things that we need it to have. It looks like there will be some shady maneuvers to say, oh, well, it is extra money for education, but really it's not, because they're moving pots of money around and they're calling it new funding. So I expect that we will see introduction of budget bills at the very latest next week, but we may see something tomorrow. Do know also that the budget has to be done by midnight on June 30th. And from what I understand, there was a time many moons ago where it wasn't done at midnight. So they covered the clocks with a black cloth and continued working until it was done. That might end up being the issue, because remember, we have a group of about 11 conservatives who want an austere budget. There are about 20 Republicans who aren't part of that group. And then there are 29 of us. So the group in the middle has to decide, are they going to work with the conservatives or are they going to work with the Democrats, because they need to get 31 votes. So it's a bit of a conundrum. The last thing that I want to tell you about what's happening or not happening at the Capitol has to do with water. So we continue to have conversations about water. Today, the Democrats had a briefing on water, and we'll kind of see what the language is, because like I told you last time, we want to see that the tribes are being included. And we also want to see that we're talking about conservation as well, not just augmentation. We want to have representation both in the urban areas and in the rural areas. So there's a lot of negotiating going on, and apparently the governor wants that done before the budget. So really the clock is ticking, and I sincerely hope we finish soon. So that is the update from the Capitol. As for the campaign office, like Paula said, we have the campaign office. It's 3377 South Price Road, and it's Suite 105. Thank you, Monroe. We do need volunteers who will be willing to sit at the desk to greet people as they come in and get them started on little projects. And we're having people sign up for 2-hour shifts. They can contact Paula. We need volunteers, and we're using the Mobilize app. So Tempest put that in the chat. Please click it and see all of the things that are happening. And then last but not least, I turned 50 in a month. So we are doing a fundraiser for my 50th birthday. And if you can participate in that, that would be super. Thank you so much. It was good to see you tonight, and I hope I see you in person very soon. Take care, everybody.
Thank you, Representative Pawlik. Next, I have Michael Morris. Michael is a veteran, former law enforcement officer, and currently a realtor who is a candidate for the Arizona State Senate for LD13. Please welcome Michael Morris. And you have 5 minutes, Michael.
Hi, everyone. Good to see you. All right, well, my name is Michael Morris. I'm running for state Senate. Education, education, education. So we need to save our public schools. We have a gigantic surplus, as you know, 5.2, 5.3 billion in the state budget. Why aren't we spending it on the public school system that is dead last in funding in the country? How did we become last in the country? Well, among other things, we have a Republican senator who doesn't think that public education is important. That's why. Well, I do, and I will fight to get our public schools the resources they need to educate our children. Voting rights. Our voting rights are under attack. Just like Adrian said, we need to fight back and protect them from the onslaught of bills and laws that we currently have to suppress them. The voting should reflect the true will of the people, and not just some of the people, all of the people. Healthcare. Everyone should have healthcare, including self-employeds that don't work for large companies that offer health insurance, but they're in the middle. They make too much for access, and they're not old enough for Medicare, so they have nothing. We need to fix that. Mental health. Well, you know, I've been talking about mental health a lot every time I get on here. Funding for our public mental health system is nearly last in the country. We're almost as low as education. The results are obvious. We have one of the largest homeless encampments in the country, 3 blocks from the Capitol. We also have so few resources for the mentally ill that very often they're incarcerated needlessly. because there's no place for them to go. And inevitably, you're going to break the law if you need mental help and it's not there. Discrimination. We need to make more progress with systemic discrimination. We need to fight racism, sexism, ageism, LGBTQ discrimination. The assault on our nation's capital last year by the white supremacist group and others reminded me that we have to be more vigilant about fighting discrimination. You can't just sit back. Our own president encouraged this disgraceful behavior, and electing the wrong people only perpetuates the hate. Reproductive rights. Why is the government interfering with a woman's right to choose? Why are they involving themselves in someone else's personal medical choices with their own bodies? Why are they invading their privacy? They have no business being involved in any of this. And we need to fight right now to protect this right, because it's under attack. Complacency simply won't cut it. The economy. We need to put some serious effort into helping struggling families. We need to fight for an increase in minimum wage, paid maternity and family leave, and we need to strengthen the unions. We need to help first-time homebuyers also by funding down payment assistance programs. We need results, not lip service. So as you all know, I am new to politics, but I'm not new to negotiating. I've been a professional negotiator for 30 years, selling real estate here in Arizona. We will not get anything done, as Jennifer so aptly pointed out, without bipartisan support. It just can't be done. That's the reality, no sugarcoating. I'm smart, I'm assertive, and I will get things done. And I can beat J.D. Mesnard in the general election and move our important agenda forward. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't see any questions from Michael, but you have something you can speak up. I have an echo. Do you guys hear that?
A little bit.
Any questions for Michael? I see something about affordable housing. What would you like to say? What's your viewpoint?
Yes, I just touched a little bit on that. Affordable housing is huge. You know, I'm a realtor, so I'm on the front line of that. I have people that call me all the time, you know, trying to get into a house, but the interest rates have gone up so high and the prices of the houses have gone up so high that tons of people are priced out of the market. And one of the problems is now that the interest rate is so high, a lot of the mortgage companies don't want to give, we don't have down payment assistance money available anymore. It's shrunk. So, you know, we need to help. We can do something as legislators and try to help some of these programs, because a lot of families are struggling. You know, we can put money into these down payment assistance programs and help folks get into houses. So yeah, I'm all about that. There's also programs that help renters, like Home Inc., for example. Fabulous program. It helps folks that are down on their luck, and it helps them cover all or part of their rent. Those are the kinds of programs that need attention right now. And this isn't a handout. This is a leg up. You know, a lot of people, oh, well, you're just spending money. No. When you help people to get to improve their lives, you help the whole system, because now they're paying taxes, now they're happier, they're healthier, and it has a trickle effect on the whole system. So, but anyways, back to that question, those are the things that I would advocate for to help affordable housing, both in the rental market and in home purchases.
Okay. And then there's one last question. Please address your views on gun reform.
Gun reform. So I'm pretty close to where Adrian is on that. As you all know, I have a background in law enforcement, and I was also in the military and the Army. And again, I'm not saying we're going to take guns from people, but having reasonable background checks, you need to have that, you know, make it 21 years old before you can buy a semi-automatic rifle that does incredible damage, and close the gaps in the background checks. The person-to-person sales and some of the sales at the shows and stuff, people can slip through there, no background check, here's the money, thank you for my gun. And the person-to-person sale, there's no regulation at all in Arizona. If you have a gun and you want to sell it to me and I have the money, there's no law that says you have to do a background check on me. That's not right. So stuff like that, I'm absolutely for that.
Okay. All right. And you, I know we're looking for volunteers to knock doors and
Yes,
lawn signs.
yes, absolutely. I'm not experienced at this, so I'm kind of new at the whole getting the word out too. But yes, if I'm out there knocking doors, if anybody wants to come with me or help, that would be greatly appreciated. And I still have a box of yard signs that I need to get out. And so if anybody would like to have one, just hit me up, go to my website, which I'm going to post right now, and just shoot me a message and let me know, and I'll get out there and I will personally put it up.
Okay. All right. And I see one last question. Are you for banning AR-15s?
My for banning them, I think that we should have people background checked, but no, I don't think I'm for banning them because they're, if you're trained on it, you know what you're doing, like say Adrian and I, there's no reason to ban lawful Americans from having it. On the other hand, there's no reason to put it in the hands of an 18-year-old that has no business having a weapon like that. But I think that, again, now you're going too far. If you're taking stuff out of people's hands, I think that's much. But requiring a reasonable background check to make sure you're not putting it in the hands of derelicts and people that are mentally ill, I think that's reasonable. But no, I wouldn't say that we should take them away completely.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye. All right. Next, we have Cindy Hahn. Cindy has 5 minutes. Cindy is a retired educator and former elections official. She has volunteered in many ways to improve our community and is now a candidate for the office of LD13 state senator. Welcome, Cindy Hans.
Thank you. So I don't know what all I can say about myself that Paula hasn't already said. I do think that the Senate certainly can use someone like me who will fight for education funding. Some of these laws, this whole thing of teachers posting stuff like Jennifer, I know what that's going to mean, practically speaking. What I would like to know from the people who voted to pass this bill is what they were doing when their teachers were taught for 18 months on camera. But they did what they did, and we definitely need to change that balance in the legislature in Arizona. I wanted to let everybody know that I have been endorsed by Save Our Schools Arizona, Arizona List, Moms Demand Action, and the National Organization for Women. So I'm very pleased about those endorsements. I want to talk a little bit about the gun violence. I have run those drills in schools. I know Jennifer's taken part in those drills, the lockdown drills, going around rattling the door, seeing if we can, get in, listening to kids, calling their parents, going, your child needs to really take this seriously. So in 2018, when I was with Outlaw Dark Money, I attended a Republican meeting, and there was a question about assault rifle, AR-15s, and this man who was leading this discussion, he said, to be fair, he said, how many people here think we should have more common sense gun restrictions, not gun restrictions, but background checks, that kind of thing. And at least half the people raised their hands. Then he said, why do you think we need AR-15s? And he said, because we want them. And I'm sitting there, and I was raised in Indianapolis. I want to drive a race car too, and I can, but in a limited place, with people making sure that I am safe and they are safe. I still can't drive an Indianapolis race car down the street. So if you want these access to this weapon of war, this assault thing, rent one. We can set that up. We can figure this out. But we've always restricted weapons. I can't go out and buy a grenade. I actually looked up, I started thinking about the 20s and the machine guns when, during Prohibition and all of that. So I looked up the difference between an AR-15 and a machine gun. And here's the difference. There are some differences. They are both deadly, absolute destruction of the human body. But the AR-15 is lighter. It was designed to be lighter because it's easier to carry in the field by soldiers and people who are trained and have need those kinds of weapons in war. There are some pieces to the AR-15 that are easier to change, like the sight and the stock. I don't even know what that means, but that's what it said. So, so this is a weapon designed for war, and that's where it belongs. It does not belong in the streets of the United States.
1 minute.
Passing a law about it, thank you. Passing a law will not get rid of the ones on the street, but we've got to start somewhere. We really do. So I would certainly fight for background checks, for the red flag laws. But we also need to take a look at actually what is available for legal purchase. If we can ban a grenade, we should be able to ban an AR-15. I'll take any questions you have. I'm going to drop my information in the chat. I also need volunteers. I need people to help canvas. I need people to help with writing postcards, that kind of thing, and funding. That's always a thing. It's always the funding. So thank you so much. I'm looking at the chat right now.
Yeah, any comments on election security?
So I have lots of comments. So the elections, the way they're run in Maricopa County are very secure. I've worked the elections since 2017. There are some very strict rules. It was interesting to hear about the observers, because the observers have specific rules that they have to follow in the vote centers. They have to be identified. They have to represent a party. We were able to restrict where they could be. And some observers will try and stop voters, but you need strong people on your election team who aren't afraid of saying, you really have to stay in this space. So there are some specific rules about who they can talk to, et cetera. The election teams, the people who are actually paid, have to be made up of multiple parties. So on my team, there were independents, Republicans, Democrats. I don't think I've ever worked with a libertarian or a member of the Green Party. But they really try and balance those teams, because there are jobs that you do that require two people from two different parties to be together, like curbside voting. So I think the way the elections are secure, I've worked elections under direction of Democrats, under direction of Republicans. The systems are very secure, and I have a lot of faith in the security of these elections.
That was my impression after my tour too.
Yeah.
I see this. Would you be willing to put forward a bill to stop the purging of the Pebble or modify it so people aren't removed after 2 elections?
Yes. So there is a way to, you can be removed from Pebble if you don't vote for a long time. And I had a voter come in, and we couldn't find him in the system, and he said, but I voted for Obama. And I said, when? And he said 2008. And I said, it's 2020, so you haven't voted for 12 years. And did you move? Have you moved during that time? And he said, yes. And I said, they couldn't find you. Nobody's been able to find you. You've not reached out. So he was able to get a ballot. He got a provisional ballot. That's one of the laws. If somebody requests a ballot, they get a ballot. But it was a provisional ballot, and I don't know what happened to it after that. My job is to get to that part, and then it goes to a special team at McTack. But yes, the law, and I didn't understand how vague I think the law is pretty vague also. So literally, do I have to mail my ballot back in? Because as an election worker, I get my ballot at home, I fill it out, and I literally go to work and I drop it off. So it doesn't go through the mail. So does that still count? You know, yeah, we need to, the system has worked fine for what, 20, 30 years, and it needs to continue working.
We're going to move on to Angel Encinas, who is one of our favorite candidates for the Chandler City Council. There are 3 openings and 3 wonderful candidates that we have. So Angel, are you here and ready to talk?
Oh, sorry, let me unmute myself there.
Yeah. Hi,
All
Angel.
right, guys, good evening. I'm Angel Encinas. Everyone, I want to give you guys a quick update about my campaign. A little bit before that, today I actually got a Facebook memory from about a year ago from when I first signed my intent to run for city council. And it's actually 1 year ago from when I first met the original LD13 for the first comeback of the Thirsty Thursdays, where a majority of all you guys are the first to sign my petition to kick off my efforts for my campaign. So I want to thank you guys because you guys are the ones that got it started for me here. Today, my campaign sits, obviously we're on the ballot. We have signs all across Chandler. We're endorsed by public safety, by the Chandler Chamber, and some amazing elected officials and community leaders here in Chandler. So today my ask of you guys is mainly for canvassing. My main focus is to reaching out to all the voters, getting our name out there as much as possible, and having as many conversations with residents here in Chandler. I walk along with Matt Orlando and Jane Poston and the Jennifers as well, passing out literature. So I ask for you guys for your time, whether it's an hour on the weekend, couple minutes, even if it's in your neighborhood, invite me over. I'd be happy to walk with you guys. So yeah, I ask for your guys' time in that and our continued effort until we wrap this election up in August. So thank you guys so much.
Awesome. Thank you,
Hey.
Angel.
Hey, and this is Brian Fox, and I just want to reiterate for not just for Angel, but for Matt and Jane as well. If you guys can amplify anything on your social media, that is also a big help. Thanks.
Yeah, and I see that Jane is here now, and so we're going a little out of order because not everyone is here. So I'll get to Jane. Next was supposed to be Matt. He's not here, but I see Marilou. Marilou Estes is a retired educator running to serve on the CUSD governing board and has been part of LD13 for a while now. So welcome, Marilou Estes. Oh, can you unmute?
I'm trying. There I am, I think. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, LD13, for letting me speak. I am Marilou Estes, and I'm running for Chandler School Board. I am a Chandler classroom teacher, albeit retired. I taught in Chandler for 21 years. I started my teaching career and I ended my teaching career in Chandler in an elementary school. I taught first, second, and fourth grades. I decided to run because I believe it's important for an educator's perspective on the many issues that are facing the school board today. If elected, my platform will bring common sense, communication, compassion to the board's decision-making process. I want to be, this is my main thing, I want to be a voice for the students, the parents, the instructors, support staff, and administrators at the in the schools. And I also, even though this is very difficult, I believe that partisanship has no place in the decision-making process for the school board, and decisions must be made in the best interest of Chandler School, the Chandler students, and that no one special interest group should control the narrative of the duly influenced board decisions. I believe that all children are entitled to a free, quality public education. And all I have to say is thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to speak. And if you liked what you heard, please go to marilou4CUSD.com. I value your support, and any donations, I can use the funding to my ActBlue account, which is Marilou for Chandler Schools, would be greatly appreciated. Thank you very much for allowing me to speak.
Awesome. Thank you, Marilou. And as a former para, thank you for mentioning support staff.
Yes, thanks.
All right, next I'm gonna have Jane Poston speak to you. She is also running for city council, and we love her and we want her to get one of those 3 seats.
Thank you so much. And I apologize for jumping on late. I don't know if Brian mentioned it. I do have a son leaving for a couple of months, and I was trying to do a family dinner and do all the things at once, like we're all out there doing. So I apologize for running a little behind, but thank you for letting me have a little bit of time tonight. I'm just going to reiterate some of what Angel had said. My campaign is moving forward very well, very happy with it, supported again by public safety as well as the chamber. So that gives us some attention and gets us moving forward out there in the community and affords us some opportunities to speak to as many people as possible. It's similar to Angel. I'm looking to get out in front of as many people. If there are any community groups or local neighborhood groups, looking to get out in front of them and just have those opportunities to have conversations about some of the issues that are most important to Chandler residents. So Angel had mentioned we are walking, the 3 of us, Matt Orlando, Angel and I, are doing some canvassing together. And a couple of those important dates would be, we're trying to get larger groups. Obviously, we are carrying each other's literature and we're organizing that as well. So we have packets made up and ready to go. If anyone is canvassing and willing to take that literature maybe into a neighborhood that you're already at, we can provide you literature for that neighborhood. We also are doing some group walks together, also including our Chandler firefighters are able to walk with us on Saturday, June 18th, Saturday, June 25th, and then we're looking at, most importantly, Saturday, July 9th after the ballots drop here in Chandler. And we're looking at mostly South Chandler. We're going to have this all organized and ready to go by the end of this week. So if there are any opportunities to work together and to partner, we're looking for those. We can use volunteers. We can always use help canvassing, even if it's not on those dates or times. We have stuff ready to go for evenings or weekends or what's most convenient to you. Again, always, like everyone else, always looking for that volunteer support, the funding support, and again, that leveraging the social media like Brian had mentioned. We all are trying to share that, and the better we do leveraging those items, the times that we're getting out there, the more people we can get in front of, and we appreciate it. So I'm just going to put my website in the chat, and thanks again for hearing me out tonight.
Yeah, and Jane and Angel, we have a little bit of your lit, Jane, I think at the office, but if you want to put yard signs there for people to pick up or literature, you're welcome to do that, both of you.
Are you talking about the new offices over there? I dropped some off this week. I dropped off some yard signs and some more literature, so it's all ready to go.
Didn't know that. I guess I haven't been there since then. Wonderful.
And Matt was busy. Well, I think he was umpiring a game.
Oh, okay. We had him and Odie on our list, and Javier Ramos, and I haven't seen him either. So
yes, and Odie is unfortunately indisposed.
Okay. All right. So that's the end of our speakers then. So thank you everyone for coming.